Alright, hey guys, so it's Alex here, and today I'll be telling you guys what the best top soloing classes are. So before I actually start on all the things, there are a couple classes that I'm not listing in the video. And these classes will be Alpha, Omega, the Collector, Undead Goat, and Draco Warlord, and Artifact Hunter. Because the list is so long, I have so many pages of these that I don't want to talk about them because they're not as strong as the other classes. But I will tell you real quickly that Alpha Omega is an okay soloing, but it has no debuff, so it's kind of weak. Collector class, just it's too slow and it can't handle the tougher bosses. Undead Goat, I don't know why it's even on the list. It really shouldn't be. It's not good at soloing. Artifact Hunter is too random. The last skill, Destiny and Doom, it's 50% chance to apply either one, so if you don't get your Destiny, you're pretty much going to die eventually, because you're not going to be getting any healing. And Draco Warlord is actually one of the better soloing classes. It can solo many of the bosses in the game due to its sustainability, but it takes way too freaking long, so that's why it's not on the list. So yeah, those guys are not on the list. So let's just get started on some of the S tier classes. So S tier soloing classes. One of the best classes in the game for soloing currently right now is STONECRUSHER. Why would STONECRUSHER be insanely good? Okay, let's look at the pros of this class. Well, pretty much you can decrease the enemy defense. You can also increase the incoming damage to the enemy up to 40%, which is ridiculous. You have a 50% chance to stun for 4 seconds. You can have your haste increased by 30%, meaning you can use your skills more often. You also can increase your critical chance by 30%. It has insane mana regeneration, like trust me, it's stupid crazy good. 25% chance to reduce mana cost by 20%, even better, you know. And you also have the chance to, you also reduce the incoming damage by 50%. Crazy. You have a strong heal over time, like super strong. You have a 25% chance to reduce incoming damage by 80%. Crazy. You have a 25% chance to double your heal over time. My goodness. You have a strong damage over time that can keep growing infinitely, meaning it can just go up forever, so the damage just keeps going up. And you have a 25% chance to reduce enemy critical rate and haste by 40%. Why is STONECRUSHER one of the best classes for soloing? Literally, I just told you everything. It does everything for you. It's just insane. Okay, another S tier class would be Ultra OMNIKNIGHT. What about this class that makes it good? Well, the pros of it is you got insane auto attack damage. It's one of the highest DPS in the game, damage per second in the game right now. It has the ability to reduce the enemy damage by 35%. And also with its healing is super strong. It can go up to 300 and so. And its damage is nothing to joke about. So it's 5 skill now, the newest thing. If your Repellence aura is active, which is the healing aura, you can increase your outgoing damage by 30%, which helps on even doing more damage, and at the same time you're healing like a ton. And then your destructive aura, you know, decreases incoming damage by 30%. If for your 5 skill. So this class, even though it sounds kind of basic, it's super strong. One of the top soloing classes in the game right now, by far. So be sure to like learn about this class and use it if you have it, because it's super strong. Another S tier soloing class is Legion DOOMKNICHT. It's not as Legion DOOMKNICHT to me is not as strong as Ultra OMNIKNIGHT or STONECRUSHER, but it's up there on the list. So what about this class that makes it super good? Well, Touch of Doom makes the enemy do less damage while increasing your damage. It doesn't decrease it by that much, but it does decrease it by a fair amount to make it okay. It has insane lifesteal, like it's when you use your ability to get your HP back, it's super big. You also reduce your opponent's haste by a small amount. You reduce enemy hit chance by a small amount. You can do a damage over time upon the enemy. You have the ability to make him decay, causing the enemy unable to heal, but that really doesn't help against many monsters. And you have a small chance to get your accuracy increased. So, the class is good, but the debuffs that it offers aren't that high compared to the other classes that I mentioned. So it will struggle on the harder bosses that hit 400, 500 damage. But if you're fighting like easier monsters, then of course this class is gonna beat them easy. Another class, here we go. Paladin HIGHLORD is also an S tier class. This class is super crazy, let me just tell you that. Why is this class up there? the pros of this class: it has a decent damage over time, you decrease the enemy crits, you have an insanely strong heal, you can lower your enemy's haste, you can stun undead targets, which isn't helpful for most things, and you also can reduce the enemy damage by a huge amount. Its 5 skill reduces their damage by a stupid amount, making you able to solo some of the harder bosses in the game. Paladin and HIGHLORD to me is tied with the best soloing classes in the game because of its 5 skill, due to it can debuffing the enemy so much. Now, there are cons about this class. This is why it isn't as high. Mana can be costly at times, and you need a full party to be efficient, since this is a party class. More members, the more stronger you are, so yeah. Alright, now we're gonna go to A tier. I'm gonna lower it down just a little. A tier, we got Shaman here. Ooh. Why is Shaman in this tier? This is why. It's got amazing damage, you got a strong heal over time, you have the ability to negate the enemy evasion and critical strike chance, and you will constantly get stronger as long as Elemental Embrace is applied. Now, why isn't it that strong? Well, it has no debuffs on the enemy damage, or the ability to have, defensive abilities. It's got no abilities to be like, okay, I'm gonna mitigate 50% damage or anything. No, it doesn't have that. It just has damage and healing. So this class will struggle severely on monsters that hit really high, and with the ability with no defensive abilities, it can be very vulnerable to that. But Shaman is still a super strong class in soloing. That's why it's still an A tier. Also, mana can be troubling at times for some people, but it's not that bad. Alright, Card Clasher. Yes, Card Clasher is on my freaking A tier. Heck yeah. Okay, so pros. It has consistent damage, you crit often, very high crits, amazing evasion, dodging, oh yeah dude. Heal over time, you got that. Life stealing, you got that. Damage over time, you got that. You can also lower your enemy damage, increase your defense, decreasing enemy defense, and the mana regeneration is amazing. That's why this class is super good. Now, what about this class can be risky? Well, if you use Raise the Stakes, you can screw yourself over super hard. Raise the Stakes, and then all of a sudden they crit you 1k, well, then you're over. You're dead. You know. Also, another con is that the cards are random. This is why it's not on S tier. It's 33% chance for each card, so, if you're on low HP, and you need that green card, but it won't appear, well, it sucks to be, you're kind of screwed. That's the problem about that class, so it's a bit of chance. Next class on the A tier is Darkblood Stormking. What about this class so good? Well, you got consistent damage, you got very high crits often, you got high heals. Nice. Pretty good, right? All you need. Now, the hills are very dependent on your 3 skill hitting. If you miss your 3 skill, then you're in trouble. Now, cons, you got no defensive abilities. No mitigation, no nothing, no defense. That's where this class kind of lacks as well. Next one we got is Evolve Pumpkin Lord. Evolve Pumpkin Lord. So what about this class? It's got consistent damage, you got 20% haste boost, amazing kill over time, which is 600%. And you can also take 20% less damage from the enemy using your 4 skill. At least this one has a defensive buff, but, it's only 20%, it's not that big. Also, your Seed of Despair makes enemies take 15% less damage, or deal 15% less damage, and take 15% more damage. That's also good. Now, the thing about this class is your last skill, your Explosive Pumpkins, makes your character lose 10% of its current health, which is not the most optimal thing you want to do. So this class would, if you can maybe make the last skill have maybe another defensive ability or something, this class might be on the top tier of soloing classes. But for now, it's okay. The debuffs, or the defensive abilities that it gets, and the debuffs it does is a little amount, which is better than nothing, but it's still not the best, so yeah. Next one we got is Evolve Shaman. This one, well, the pros is you can perma-stun the enemy if they're able to be stunned, which a lot of the monsters for some reason don't like to be stunned. It also has a strong damage over time. You can reduce your enemy haste, increase your haste as well. It has a mediocre heal, like it sucks. And you have the ability to negate evasion and crit chance. Now what are the cons? Well, the heal isn't that high and the mana can be a problem. And well, you don't really have any defensive abilities as well in this class, so yeah. That's that class, so it's mediocre. Next one we got is Arcane or Mystical Darkcaster. What? Really on this list? Yes, it is. It's actually good. Pros about this class, the damage over times are super strong. You can reduce your enemy hit chance by 15%. Your heal over time is strong. You can reduce the damage taken. Your haste can be increased by 30%. Now, what is the problem about this class? The problem is the mana, and how if you need mana, you use that one move and all of a sudden you're stunned for 4 seconds. Crap, you know, you're vulnerable for 4 whole seconds, which is a problem. But you know, also this class takes a bit of time to get the damage rolling. Like, it just takes a bit of time before your damage actually starts showing up. But it's still a pretty good class if you learn how to use it properly. So very good soling class. Another one is Oracle. Ooh. You ready for the Oracle? Heck yeah. Oracle, well, this class is good. Well, this class has the ability to increase its intellect and critical strike damage by 30%. Hills are extremely strong. You have the chance to increase dodge by 50% and the critical strike chance by 30%. This is a healing class that has the ability to dodge a lot. Like, that's crazy. Also, you have the ability to block most of the opponent's attack or ignore the opponent's spell power, which is your 5 skill called Ignore, making this class extremely strong, like exceptionally strong for soloing. The only con it has is its group deviation, so its heal can apply a negative debuff. So it has like 4 abilities on that, or 4 different effects. One of them is bad, the others are good. That's why this class is on the list, but you know, its damage is okay. You can do 2Ks and stuff, but it's not as fast as the other classes like Shaman and stuff, for example. That's why it's kind of the last ones I've listed. Okay, now another thing. We're going on to the next one. So there are the classes Paladin and Bladebinder. These classes have been very tough for me to put into a tier, and I'm just going to talk about them right here. Bladebinder, in my opinion, should be A tier. Why is it A tier? If you ask me, well, the heal isn't that high. You know, the damage is mediocre. Like, you're not going to crit with this class, you're not going to crit high. You got dots, but that's it. You do have a defensive buff, which is nice, like the shield, but the heal is so weak, guys. This class doesn't survive that long, but besides that, it's got everything else. It's going to be slow on soloing bosses. Like, it's super slow compared to the other classes. That's why it's an A tier. And now Paladin. This class, I can't figure out where to put it. I want to put this either in S tier or A tier, but it's been very tough for me. Because this class, with its 2 skill, you can, I believe, reduce the amount of damage you get taken. Also, you have a heal. Your 4 skill does massive damage, and your 5 skill can blind the enemy. This class, right now, I want to put it in the S tier, so I'm going to label it as an S tier class for now. But the reason for that is because of its kit. Of course, you can blind the enemy, reduce enemy damage, you heal, you do damage. Good stuff. So, I mean, it could have a better defensive buff to be like mitigate 50% damage, but you know, it's fine. And it's not a bad soloing class, it's really good. But the problem is it's a legend only class, so not every player can use it, so unfortunate for them. I'm mostly trying to list non-member classes, so that's kind of why. Yeah. Alright, now we're going to go on to B tier. You're going to actually be really surprised by the first B tier class you see. I put Infinity Knight in B tier. Ooh. What? Yeah. Okay, so it's got amazing damage over time. It's got a 50% damage resistance with its 3 skill. Has very strong heals over time. You can stun the enemy, but you never use it. And you can increase the damage over time damage. And you have the ability to increase enemy haste by 50%. Now, what are the cons? You can increase the enemy haste. You can decrease the amount of damage over time that the enemy takes. And mana can be extremely hard to keep up. Extremely hard. This is why I put this class very low. When using this class on fighting the harder bosses in the game, I've noticed that it takes, if you cannot stack up your 2 skills up enough that you get a decent heal over time, like 200 at least or so, then you're screwed. You're screwed early already. Also, if you can't manage your mana, because this class gains very little mana, like 2 mana per auto attack or so, like it's super low, and you can't figure out how to use your skills properly, this class will struggle in soloing. And you're gonna feel like this class doesn't do that much damage because this class is highly reliant on its damage over time abilities. So, and you do not want to use your last skill to your 4 skill, which is your high damage over time, unless you're getting low. You want to constantly start cycling between getting max stacks and just getting that basic damage over time applied with your auto attack, which is, it can be really tough with this class. That's why it's not as high on the list. Another class on the B tier is actually Healer. Little did you know. You got sexy heals and you reduce your target's damage by 30%. Wow. That's it. It has no high damage, that's the only problem. It's a super good soling class, but it's got no damage, man. So, yeah. Next we got on the B tier is Necromancer. This used to be one of the top soling classes in the game at one point. And everyone would use this class because you can just spam your 3 skill and just weaken them and just heal for days, but you don't do much damage. But yeah, pros, you got good damage, you lower your enemy damage, and you got good lifesteal, obvious. Now the cons is if you want to use your 2 skill, it's risky, you're going to take damage over time upon yourself, and it costs HP to regain mana if you're low on mana. So there are many problems with this class, that there's a lot of risk to it, so you can just use the class and just spam your 3 skill over and over. It'll take a while though, and it won't be as high damage, but it is possible, so that's why it's kind of low. Next one we got is actually Legion Blademaster. Well, this one has a chance to 50% chance to reduce the next enemy attack to 0. Nice. Your dodge is increased by 20%. Critical strike damage is increased by 30%. You can do 30% more damage. You have lower well, pretty much this class, lower your HP, the higher your damage is. You got decent lifesteal in this class, and you can lower the enemy critical strike chance by 24%. Now what's the problem? Well, you can inflict damage over time upon your user, and you can struggle with mana at times. That's the problem with this class. Also, the cooldown on the heal can be iffy at times, so you can struggle with that. Alright, now we're going to go down to C tier. So the classes you're going to start seeing now are classes of what I consider, they're like, all these classes are still good. If you have any of these classes for soling, use them for soling because they're really good, but you know, as the tiers go down, these classes are going to be worse and worse for soling. C tier, Legion Evolved Darkcaster. Pros, you can lower your enemy hit chance slightly, you can lower your enemy hit slightly, so their accuracy. You have a decent heal, you have a decent hit over time, and the decay negates on enemy healing, which isn't really a help for most parts. Now what's the problem with this class? Ooh, the cooldowns are super rough on this class. They are quite high for soloing. You're gonna struggle a lot. And there's no consistent damage. The reason, you can't complain to me and be like, Alex, the last kill crit's really high. Yeah, but did you see the cooldown? It's like 20 seconds. Yeah, it's not that good. It's not that good. Next one is now Troll Spellsmith. This one you can decrease the enemy haze, chance of stunning the enemy, you have a mediocre heal, and you have an increased chance to crit. Now what's the problem about this class? You will have lower haste and damage due to energy drain, so once you're trying to get all the mana back, it can be quite hefty upon you. You have no defensive abilities, so it sucks if you're fighting a super hard boss that does tons of damage, and you have a very weak heal. Yep, that's why that class is there. Next one we got is Dragon Lord. Dragon Lord class has decent damage. You can reduce the enemy haste and crit chance up to 20%. You have okay lifesteal, it's not even that good, and you can increase the enemy damage taken by 12% with your cursed blood. Last skill. Now the cons is it's not that strong compared to the other classes that I've mentioned, and it has no defensive abilities, which is a big thing. And the healing on this class is meh, you know, but at least you can do it more often compared to the other classes. Alright, the last class on this list now, or actually no, that should be it on the list. So there are a couple things you're probably gonna ask me. Is like, Alex, where's the other classes? Like the new classes they've added, like Diamond and a couple others. Well, you see, I don't think they're that amazing right now. For soloing, I think they're okay, but they're not the best. And the reason why I don't want to list them is because they're member classes. All the classes I've mentioned in this list, besides Paladin, which everyone will complain to me if I don't add it on the list, is non-member. Like, it is either non-member or you can purchase it with adventure coins, but I wanted to make sure this list is complete non-member. Every single player should be able to obtain these classes for the most part, through adventure coins or by earning it. So that's kind of the reason why for my idea on the list. I will make, if people really want me to, I will make a different list specialized with member classes as well. But I'm thinking for the whole of the community, which a lot of them are non-member. Alright, it's been a while, and it took me a long time to get through the list, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like and comment. This takes a lot of work, guys, like a lot of planning and stuff. And hope you guys enjoy. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.